Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Ah, pretty good. Had a good holiday.
Yeah.
Santa Claus was good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where the hell did this year go?
That's what I'm saying.
It flies
flew
by.
Man.
It flies by. It's just...
I've heard numerous people in my circle have said that same thing. This year has come and gone very quickly.
The older you get, I think the faster
you're right.
it flies by.
You're right.
Oh, I think somebody said that in the last episode.
Yeah.
Life
Right.
is not like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
It's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer the end you get, the faster it goes.
But what I'm talking
Speaking
about...
of that, I got to go buy toilet paper.
But what I'm meaning is we all ubiquitously feel like this year went quickly, which is the thing that's surprising, is what I mean. Like, yes, you're right. Years have been going by a little bit quicker now that I'm older than I was when I was a kid. But something about there's people I follow online. There's a couple of podcasts I listen to. I have some friends here, and they all kind of say the same thing. They're like, the tail end of this year just kind of snuck right past us. And normally I've heard one or two people say that, but it feels pretty unanimous is what it feels like, which is kind of making me feel like, what's going on here? What conspiracy there? Let's go put on our tinfoil hats real quick.
The Matrix.
I'm
The Matrix. You know how when you listen to
yeah.
the Retrospect podcast on
gosh.
your favorite media there, you can actually play it on 1.25 or 1.5 speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if the Matrix just got turned on 1.5 for us.
Maybe someone just hit the fast forward button real fast. But it has been a big year for us.
Man, crazy year.
We've had some good episodes, though, this year.
We've had some very big episodes that have become our top episodes of this year.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean...
And I believe that's what we're talking about this week. This episode is going to be our
End of year review.
end of year review.
And I would love for our audience to actually, give us some feedback on what episode you thought was the best.
Oh yeah, what was your favorite?
Yeah.
But before we get into that a little bit, I do want to talk about this holiday season has been really awesome. I feel like there's been a lot of good things going on at work for me, and there's been a lot of stuff going on with my family and everything. I got the chance to get the family all around at my house, and it was awesome to be able to have everyone there. And I cooked them some dinner and stuff, and then we had a gift exchange, and it was a great experience. I got some whiskey, I got a gift, got some gift cards, and got I got some cologne and everything, and so I'm excited. But the big thing is that I had a couple of gifts for specific people in my family that I had really put some thought into. And I think that they really enjoyed it, and that brought me a lot of pleasure. Ever since getting in a relationship with Mallory is a big gift giver, and really loves to give gifts specifically curated to people. That's her first thought. If she sees something, she's like, "Oh, I should give that to such and such or whatever." And so she has been able to help me find that joy in a way, because I've given people gifts, but there's something that it's something that she gets such a big kick out of, and I love helping around with that. And so this year has been pretty fun getting some gifts for everybody.
And see, Miranda is so hard to give a gift to shop for. I mean, it's just insane. After getting me, what else is there? I mean, what else is there?
Wow.
This woman literally has everything, and she's just so bougie and eclectic in her tastes. It's
and
really hard.
You're so humble as well.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's funny. But yeah, so this was a good holiday season. I know we talked about. I think our previous episode came out on Christmas Day, but obviously we recorded that before then. So now this is all post that,
But
and now
this one drops on New Year's
exactly.
Day.
Now it's the New Year's, but I wanted to at least say that now that we're looking back on it, Christmas was really fun for me this year. So
That's good.
Yeah, I had a good Christmas. I really did. I got some nice things, but I'm primarily
I heard
I'm an envelope guy. That's what I like.
I heard through the grapevine that one of our listeners is buying you a Christmas tree next year.
Yes. Someone had made a comment that because of my lack of Christmas enthusiasm as it pertains
it's
to
Christmas cheer, please.
Christmas decorations, that I don't do any of that anymore. And she just absolutely took offense to that and was like, no, that's not going to happen, Jason.
Right.
If I have to come to your house and decorate a tree for you, you're going to have something up. So,
Right.
That's nice.
I know at the end of that episode, we did come to a conclusion that maybe we would slowly work your way back into some Christmas cheer.
I
think you're getting help.
I think someone's going to really just kick you out the door.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, oh, God, and now everybody right now is probably thinking about, oh, look at the work I got to do, take down all this stuff. And
that's okay.
me, I'm like, I got nothing to do. I'm good. I'm good.
And to think about that as well, I did get some time off at work because of the holidays and stuff, so I may be a little bit biased. I think this holiday season a little bit better because I did a lot of extra work leading up to the holiday season, and immediately after it was all over with, getting some time off does feel really nice, So that's maybe I'm a little bit biased. I think that this Christmas season was a lot better than previous ones.
I got a few days off coming up, and it's just hard to believe we're going to be in 2024.
That's right.
You're telling me.
I mean, it's
crazy.
Wow. Where does time go? And I still remember all the hoopla of 2000.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's almost been 25 years since
Crazy.
then.
There's been some major events of this year.
There's been a lot.
Good and bad.
Yep.
On February the 6th, Turkey and Syria were struck by a catastrophic 7.8 magnitude earthquake that killed right under 60,000 people.
Wow.
That's a major event. That was very sad. I feel very bad for those people, and trying to recover from that's just beyond belief.
Yeah.
Well, here's one. I Googled, some significant events that I think people would be interested in. India passes China as the world's most populous country.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
With a larger, younger generation than China.
Right. The population is estimated to be 1.43 billion.
Hmm.
And they say India will likely remain the most populous country for decades to come. China's population is both shrinking and aging.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because around, at least in my age range, I remember in the early 2000s, that, like, the conversations. Now, this may have stretched way before that, but I was a kid in school hearing about it in the early 2000s about the whole one kid policy thing, where like you couldn't have more than one kid in China.
Yeah, they say
and,
demographers project that the Chinese population will fall by 100 million people by mid-century, or more than the population of all but 15 countries in the world today.
Wow.
So
that's what I was saying.
Interesting.
So in my age range, people that were growing up could only have one child because of overpopulation, and now it looks like it's swinging far in the opposite direction, where the people that were in that older bracket are now getting older, and the
problem
people
is you got to keep replacing because you go a generation.
I actually, now that we're talking about it, I believe Mallory may have told me that I think they're trying to incentivize people to have more kids, which kind of is hilarious to think about it now. Is like you used to. My previous generation, you penalized them and only having one kid, and now in my generation, they're like, no, please have more children. Like that's, I don't know, that feels a little messed up personally, but I don't got to go into all that. But.
India has got a lot of people. So, here's another one: Civil War racks Sudan. So they've got a problem over there. So. They said 2023 was supposed to be the year that Sudan became a democracy. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize they were that close.
Yeah.
The Sudanese people instead got a civil war. The conflict has its roots in the protests that led to the Sudan military in April 2019 to overthrow the country's longtime dictator, Omar al-Bashir. So,
wow,
they have problems.
On a lighter note, can I tell you guys what we talked about at the beginning of the year that I'm not sure if you guys remember or not? On January 16th, we had an episode that launched, and it was the first time I talked to you guys about Kopi Luwak.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our
Or I
coffee
think
episode.
it maybe I think that
Poo-poo coffees and brownies
Yeah.
was the name of the episode.
I think that actually may have been, you may have already purchased it by that point, but in the beginning of this year, we talked about it for the first time or you had tried it the first time.
And
we had talked about the coffee episode last year,
Right.
and then you got the poo-poo
That was
coffee,
what it
and then
was,
we
yeah.
did poo-poo coffee and brownies
I
on
still
the 16th.
can't believe I paid all that money for coffee, but we
Now,
did.
but what we've done
It
is
lasted us,
long
9
time.
months.
we,
yeah.
we do research in this show.
We do.
And we found out that poo-poo coffee, Kopi Luwak, is
I
no
can't believe this.
longer the most expensive coffee in the world. That coffee is generally $4 to $4.75, depending on where you get it. And basically what happens is the civets eat the coffee, the cherries.
Yeah.
And the beans really aren't digested. They
The-
have an enzyme that comes in there and affects it, and they clean them, they process it.
What a coffee bean is, it's really like a seed,
Right.
And inside a coffee cherry, they're really hard. When they're green, they're really hard, so that they don't really like chew them up like you would like a peanut, for instance.
They just kind of swallow them.
Right, because they're really tough, but they only become brittle after the roasting process. So, anyways,
We found out that now there's a process with elephants
gosh,
that eat the coffee cherries and poop it out, and it's over $1,200 a pound.
why?
Yeah, I think that breaks down to like, I think I was, because I did some, when when I heard about it, I did a little research myself, and the guy that started this, it was a Canadian, he's a multi-millionaire, billion, I don't know what his income level, but he sunk his own money into this remote area of Thailand, I believe,
Yes,
is
it's
where
in
this
Thailand. Yes.
and really does a great job with the locals there as far as employing them. The elephants are taken care of very nicely, so I think it's a win-win. But it does, the proteins in the elephant's stomach does something to the coffee bean. That's where they say the change in texture as far as how it tastes,
Right.
what it does. So, but if there's only one guy doing this, you can imagine
Oh,
why
yeah.
it's
Premium.
and he said he only sells to the most exclusive restaurant. Because let's be honest, that's I think about $40 for a cup of coffee.
Right.
You really are catering to people with lots of disposable income.
Right.
I mean, then again, you could say that about
Coffee in general has and I may be opening the curtain a little bit too much. Coffee in general has a pretty good overhead. Like, especially like now for like very poorly made coffee or like, stuff that's not ethically sourced, you can get some very cheap coffee. Now, if you start getting into specialty stuff and you start really worrying about the ethics of it and, of course, the environmental impact, that's when it kind of gets a little more expensive. But still, even then, if you're at a coffee shop and you're selling some nice stuff, you can still make a pretty good buck, like, on the coffee itself. So this guy, not only is he probably, trying to get a return on his investment,
Of
but
course.
he's trying to also make some money, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know where other than just, I imagine supply is somewhat limited because it's not like he's got thousands and thousands of elephants that are defecating, and people are going through and grabbing these beans out of the
That's crazy,
out of the dung. But I mean, I found that when Stoney, you forward that to me,
Yes.
I was like, I found that very interesting. Of course, I had to do some digging on my own.
Sure.
In that same month, though, in January, at the very end, our biggest episode dropped, The Tragedy of Madison Brooks, which is still, I think, our most listened to episode yet, which is crazy to think about.
Well, that was such a. But
I mean,
you know what?
But it was also like it was a episode that we just decided to record.
Speaking of that, there was some latest news that just dropped on that case.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't been keeping up with.
Yeah, I've been out of it since my accident.
Let me see if I can find it. I remember I got an alert on my phone. That's how I know about it. I went, look at this. But I believe the judge is demanding that the prosecution hand over all the cell phone data.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Because I think the defense's argument in that case was she was a willing participant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're arguing. It
Right.
wasn't that she was like,
Forced.
forced, and
Yeah.
she willingly did some of these things. So I think now what's coming out with some of this cell phone data, I'm curious how that's going to affect that case. I'll be very interested to see how all that plays out.
Well, I'm sorry. If you're that drunk, you can't make a good decision to drive. You can't make a good decision to do anything. You shouldn't be able, taking advantage of that either. I have a problem with that. Somebody's taking advantage of that. So I have one I want to throw toward Ian.
Okay, what's that?
May the 1st.
Oh, gosh.
Jeffrey Hilton, the godfather of AI, resigned from Google amidst the growing concerns over AI. The so-called godfather, who gained his nickname for his pioneering work on AI, resigned to help spread the word about the dangers of emerging technology.
Right.
And then also on May the 4th, this one's for you also, Star Wars actress Carrie Fisher was posthumously awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Wow.
There used to be a drinking game, Jason. I don't know if you remember this in the beginning of the show. If Ian mentioned Star Wars or Canada, you had to take a shot. So, yeah.
I love Star Wars. My favorite franchise, really. Next to Lord of the Rings, my two favorite.
No, look, I grew up with Star Wars.
Yeah,
I remember going to seeing it in a drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
When Baton Rouge actually still had those.
I had the original.
But I remember going to doing that. But
I had the original trilogy on VHS tapes that I would wear out as a kid pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's crazy. The thing about AI is it just further proves my point. I feel like in November, not this past November, but the November of 2022 was whenever ChatGPT became commercially available, or
Right.
I think it's what is not commercially available, but like became available to the average person.
Mm-hmm.
And between November and May, you have someone like that's coming out being like, hey,
it was March the 14th.
March the 14th.
When they opened OpenAI released ChatGPT 4, the upgraded version.
Right.
So when he saw that, it was very shortly thereafter that he
That's what I'm
went,
saying.
I got to go, I'm bouncing.
And I think I think we did an AI episode closer to like the June mark, I think, or something. Later on in the year, we talked about AI, I think, and again, I said the same thing. I was like, we're not even like 6 months out from ChatGPT 3, which was the first one that was like available for people. And it's getting crazy that like now it's so ubiquitous now that everyone can be able to use it and everyone has it, and now people are dependent on it, which is the scary thing. And I knew it was coming, and I just feel like it's one of those things where now like AI is in everything. And again, I understand why, because companies are forced to keep up. And the second that Snapchat had a little AI assistant you could talk to, I knew that was going to be the beginning of this is going to have an AI assistant, and this is going to have an AI thing, and AI this, and it's the thing now. So
well, they say in skeptics, you got the one side, you got the Elon Musk and some of these other people that have been warning about the AI. But other people on the other side said that skeptics argue that much of AI's promise will be derailed.
Yeah.
Because the models will soon begin training on their own outputs.
Yeah.
Leading them to become divorced from actual human behavior.
Yep.
So,
It's like kind of like the cloning thing. Eventually, you're going to get in the bind when you don't have enough DNA. What do they call it when you have enough DNA in the gene pool? You know, I think AI is going to kind of do the same thing. It's going to keep populating off of itself to where it's not have any human characteristics to it.
You're right. But then the scary part is like, and this is what I'm talking about, is like if we keep pushing it to that level and then it breaks past that barrier, or it breaks past that, the great filter, its own filter it gets through, and then it does become some level of sentience, or it becomes some level of automation that we can't even comprehend, and it starts to control everything. And then it's like, it could go one of two ways.
I think what you need to watch, and I was reading an article about this, is the jump to quantum computing.
Yep.
Okay,
100%.
so once you pair AI with quantum computing, now you've transcended kind of the barrier. You're talking about that filter.
Right.
I think that's the filter.
Well, that's going to be
once you get into the quantum level and you can do that, now you've changed the game.
You can change that to Skynet.
And the thing is, the problem is that we already have quantum computing, but it's just not efficient enough. And
it's not perfected,
right? But that doesn't mean they're not trying, though.
No, it's going to be. No, I firmly believe that's the next
evolution,
the next jump. I think that's going to make. I think you're going to see the jump in robots.
Yes,
that's where you're going to start seeing. I think what people see in the movies.
Did you see the other day that a robot in the Tesla factory attacked somebody?
Yeah,
right,
and hurt them, drew blood.
That's
it's coming.
That may actually go back in time. Like somehow you can, they might look back in time and said the first time a robot hurt a human, that was the
if
first
only
step.
if only we could be back at that. And them not torturing us.
But I definitely think quantum computing is going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Speaking of,
go ahead.
I was saying in February we also talked about the Great Filter.
Yes.
In February of this year.
That was a good episode.
That was a great episode.
I enjoyed the Great Filter.
And we got some good response back from that
Yeah.
one too. That was fun.
Yeah, what is going to be our Great Filter?
You're right. Anyway, sorry.
AI.
Probably.
How about June the 18th? OceanGate's Titan submersible imploded during an expedition to the wreck of the Titanic.
That's crazy.
That we even did an episode on that one.
Yep.
And that was a pretty big event.
And here on a very controversial topic, climate change.
Oh, gosh.
2023 is likely the hottest year on record.
For around in these parts, it was.
Global temperatures have not been this high in 125,000 years.
Oh, my God. What?
And they are opposed to blow past the 2 degrees Celsius limit enshrined in the 2015 Paris Agreement.
What does that mean?
And I think there was some agreement that the major countries of the world were. I'd have to go back.
So like they said that if it was to reach over this for a certain period of time, we got to make changes.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay, that makes sense.
The once obscure phrase "wet bulb temperature" entered the lexicon as people worldwide learned firsthand that high temperatures combined with high humidity can kill. Well, we know that quite well.
Oh yeah, we know
where we're at.
Yeah. But the rest of the world's finally learning a little bit because they had to deal with it, I think.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm not doubting that temperatures go up or go down.
Yes.
I think if you want to look at the history of planet Earth, I think that's well documented that. We've had climate shifts. I mean, that's what happens. But
it is getting a little bit concerning that, like you were saying, it's the highest global.
Well, I don't think the world population has as much to do with it as they want you to believe. If you can't cure homelessness or fix homelessness, you're not going to be able to generate enough taxes to affect the global climate change. But if you look back over it, and I was talking to my little brother a while back, and they did these large core drillings where they found oxygen levels and CO levels, and it's like this big cycle
Yep.
that happens. The more oxygen you get, the bigger the animals go. The bigger the animals get, the more CO they release, and then the bigger the plants get. And the bigger the plants get, the more oxygen that's released, the bigger. And it's this big cycle, and then you got the sun doing its thing. You got there's so many different things, and I really don't believe. The mayor of New Orleans decided to go to Dubai for a climate change conference, and spent more in CO and her carbon footprint in that one trip than everybody in Louisiana will spend in their lifetime driving their cars around. That's what her jet did. Really? Come on, people. If it's a form of control, and it's a form of people saying you need to pay more taxes, I'm not buying this climate thing.
As I said, it's
I think we need to be responsible. Now, right. I really truly think we need to be responsible. Can we find a better solution? Yes.
So the problem is that major companies around here like to offset the recycling and offset the problem to the consumer, which is what we've all been okay with. Is like, I'm going to give you like a recyclable option or an efficient version of this, but it is your responsibility to recycle it properly and all that kind of stuff. And that's the problem. Is I think that, and I think it's been proven as well, that like you as a regular person can do your part, but bigger people at play have to do their part for it to make substantial change.
Sure.
That's the problem. Is that
100% agree.
They're not going to, because it's going to be.
Here's another one, guys. Y'all probably remember this. The banking crisis. San Francisco-based First Republic Bank fails and is auctioned off by U.S. FDIC to J.P. Morgan Chase.
I forgot about that.
For $10.7 billion. The collapse surpasses March's collapse of Silicon Valley Bank to become the second largest U.S. bank and second largest in U.S. history.
That's crazy. Also, in April of this year, we had that whole discussion with TikTok about getting banned from, the whole.
Oh yeah, see, I don't have TikTok.
No. But and the thing, and I knew this, is that there's all these other apps that do the same exact thing.
Oh yeah,
it's not just TikTok. Everyone. I feel like this year has been the year that I've heard about Temu more than anything else. And all it takes is for you just to scratch the surface just a little bit to realize just how awful of a company that is, and just how much that they also have like all the same sort of data mining stuff and all these security breaches, and the fact that they are basically you can just watch a handful of videos and they can summarize it so much better than I can. Don't use a thing like Temu. Don't buy that kind of stuff. It's just like I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff in this world that I feel like we're getting to this just consumerism, this whole thing that I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable, and I feel like we're robbing this world of resources just to make a little toy that is going to get thrown away.
And another serious deal was the Nashville shooting. Y'all remember that one? That was a bad deal where a disturbed person went in there and killed all those kids. I think it was a Christian school.
It was, yeah. A former student, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Well, another interesting, on March the 9th, the U.S.
My birthday.
Huh?
My birthday.
Okay, that's good. Well, my birthday was on the June the 18th of the thing. March the 9th, the U.S. record industry reported for the first time since 1987, sales of vinyl records exceeded CD sales.
Yep. That is a big thing. Everyone's been loving vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Mallory collects vinyl. Mallory has a nice record player, and she's been getting some really cool vinyl records for the past couple of years. And she's got a couple of her favorite musicians have been making records now that are special edition records that have like cool prints in them and are like special colors and stuff. And she's got a really nice collection. But it's really cool. I think it's that in a world where we're where everything's going digital and everything is so not physical anymore. I think there is a growing population of people that like to have something tangible, like as proof of support or proof of love of an artist, or even like a piece of art, something physical on your wall. And I think that's another thing that vinyl records is. I think it is a fad. I think people are buying it because it is, but I think it all has stemmed from a good place of like there's something nice and physical about putting on a record and feeling the needle and
hearing the
magic
static, hearing the little nuances and the little things that make it imperfect is one of the biggest complaints when CDs first came out. It was too clean. It was too sterile. You can't listen to good jazz or blues or something like that without all of the imperfections in the LP.
You're right.
And that's why I think a lot of people are going back to it now, because it's just more real. It's more genuine. And that's a fantastic when you get a nice set of speakers and you get that record player and you can just lose yourself in it more so, and you can feel like you're in that jazz or blues bar in the French Quarters back in the 80s when I was back there, and you could feel the music. Well, now things are just so sterile when you download it, and it's
all digital.
It's all digital. I like the real feel.
Speaking of music, and I remember one of my favorite episodes I really enjoyed because I just thought the topic was so interesting, was the episode Music Will Furnish the Answer. We talked about frequencies in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
That was the 432 hertz and the history of it and all that. I thought that was a really a good one.
That was a really good episode. I got to really splurge on my love for music, which is an ever thing I will always keep at bay. Like I always feel like I want to talk more about music and sound and how I think us as humans are so intrinsically inside of us are such musical people, musical beings that just no matter where you are in the world, there's something so universal about music that I think is so magical.
We've had some really good episodes.
I'm looking back. Yeah, I'm looking back.
We had some great guests that came on the show.
We did one of my favorite episodes this year.
Yeah.
Top 5 dinner guests.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
That was a good
just
one.
Fun.
Yeah.
We got some responses to that one. People loved that episode. Some people said in some we were predictable, in some we were not even close to predictable. We threw some neat stuff out there.
Yeah.
And that was a fun episode for me. And then to have a great friend, Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul, come on. And that was just fantastic, talking about the 3 F's and the 3 C's. And it was great. I saw him last Thursday.
Oh.
It was great. We were with some friends, and we were talking about the episode and how much he enjoyed it. And he'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
One of my guests was an artist that I really like, Haley Williams from Paramore, and getting to see her in concert again, and then hanging out afterwards and just being like, this is a cool moment, and it was down in New Orleans where I saw her the first time like a long time ago. It was a really special experience, and I really enjoyed getting to see her again. So, and that was one of the ones that I'd like to have dinner with. It wasn't dinner, but we had coffee, but.
And actually, Jason and I picked Jesus first, and I almost met him on June the 27th when I had my accident.
Yeah.
I was lucky to survive.
Yeah, because
that.
I'm looking at our past episodes, and we did the missing Titanic submersible, and the next episode was Stoney's injury.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
So it happened between June 26th and July 3rd. It was the
midpoint of the year.
Yeah.
Dang. I didn't realize that was.
That time, I still have memory problems, but there's 5 days that I'm completely blank on, that are just gone.
And that was just you and me, Jason. I see right here on the artist list. It was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Because Miranda was still with me.
You're right.
And then, when I got home, I'm like, "Baby, the show has to go on. Please go help them." And they're gonna miss me. And I know y'all didn't, but
oh no, we missed you. But
and then she came and filled in for about a month and a half.
The show does well, I believe, when we have all of our crew here. I mean, I just think it flows well, and And we all feed off each other.
Yes.
So I think when you take one away, there's like a void there, and it's
right. The same thing could be said whenever X-Men left as well. The show felt
absolutely.
different because again, I think we were going through a
because y'all recorded a number of shows.
We did.
Well, and that's something else too. This year we had our 100th episode.
That's right.
We got X-Man and Jason.
Wow.
In the same room.
And may I say, to give X-Man some credit, I did not think he was going to be. I didn't think he was going to be coming in hot with that topic he wanted to talk about.
Oh no, we had a great show because that was a good show.
Yeah. But again, to be honest, I know X-Man pretty well, and I know he pulls that kind of stuff, so I should have known better. But the second that we sat here and he was talking about all the world crisis and everything else that was going on, I was like, I thought we were just gonna have like a fun little happy-go-lucky episode. And he's like, let me go ahead and throw this bomb on you. I was like, no, dude, what the?
That's right.
But that's very much his personality.
Well, he did say he appreciated where
You're
we're
right.
going and the topics
right.
and the guests. He loved the guests that we've been having. And he said we were doing a good job in his absence, and he said he'll be back. I can't wait to see him back either.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've already kind of mentioned a little bit, but this is also the year that we've had the most guests. We've had everyone from Miss Jennifer Richardson. We've had.
We did our first topic on women's health.
Yeah, and that was the first episode that Mallory was like, I loved that one.
That was Lauren.
Lauren Luke Richardson.
Luke. We also had April Cappuccino Myers talk about the whole fentanyl
crisis. That was a good episode.
As you mentioned already, Chief Murphy Paul was another one.
And then we were introduced to non-kinetic weapons this year with Brandon.
Yeah, my mother made a special guest talking about the evolution of education and homeschooling and all that kind of stuff.
How we've got a
Cajun Navy. Todd Terrell was on here.
That's what I'm
saying.
How are we going to top this next year?
That's what I was talking about. Is that whenever you look, it just takes a little scroll throughout the list, and you're like, oh, and need I can't believe we didn't say this, but also Rabbi Barry Weinstein as well with the whole Israel conflict. Like it just is, like I said, it just takes a little scroll back to look at the amount of people we've had on this show that have talked about some wonderful topics.
We had Julie Baxter Payer.
You're right.
Talking about
media and
integrity and
journalism. And
right. It's been a great year for guests. I feel like
we have a lot to.
I think there's
next year.
I think there's a number of things that can be attributed to the growth of the podcast, and I think it is the introduction of you, Jason, into a member of this cast, us doing some hard-hitting topics with some research involved, and I think that another big thing of all that is these great people that have taken time out of the week to come and talk with us, and that have also helped push out the podcast to their circles.
That's right.
Because they have done a great job also supporting our show as we have supported them in all that they're doing. And
absolutely,
I'm very grateful because I think that has also helped us out a lot because we've had people from many different walks of life, it feels like, that have come onto the show and talked about their niche, and it's awesome.
Going to be more to come next year.
I know. I'm excited. There's a lot of good stuff.
We got some pretty good topics on tap for next year. Yeah. So stay tuned.
I would like to add something to that. This year saw a pretty impressive accident that I was in, but it also saw the 3-year anniversary of Miranda and I meeting and our 1-year anniversary of being married.
That's awesome.
And that's, to me, that's the top of my list. I don't want to put the podcast second, but y'all are second.
I
she
would
comes
respectfully
first,
take second place.
My life with her, and I don't know how I could have done any of this without Miranda.
Right.
So that 3-year and 1-year anniversary thing's pretty big. I'm thankful for that.
And also something that is kind of almost just like we don't even think about it. We got our table.
Oh yeah,
you're right. We got our table.
We got this nice table here.
Table that
Manny.
Trust me,
that
it is
Manny
not-
was able to build for us. It's absolutely
Yes.
beautiful. And
Manny's Woodworking. You can find him on Facebook.
Yeah.
He did the
I
Retrospect podcast table.
trust me when I say I've not taken this table for granted, not one day. This table has been great, a great addition to the studio. And every time someone comes in here, I've had someone specifically tell me that's a nice table. And I was like, handmade by a fan of Retrospect, which
That's
is
right.
really great. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
which is awesome. And this is a beautiful table. And I love for those of you at home that are wanting to know, it's a circular table that was handmade, and it has this beautiful wood grain on it, and it's got it all showing with these nice 4 strong legs that are bolted in, and it's a beautiful table. And it's been as opposed to our poor little other table that we have over off to the side. It's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah.
Very appreciative.
Some good stuff.
It's been a good year.
It's been a
Rough
great
year.
Yeah,
It's been a good year too.
There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but it's been great.
Miranda has threatened to, starting I think in the middle of May, I think she's going to wrap me in 3 layers of bubble wrap and make me wear a helmet.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
She said she's not going through any of this again.
3rd anniversary of some some sort of injury in the summertime or some sort of traumatic event.
So I'm going to have to be careful in this coming year.
Yeah.
Maybe I can start driving soon.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I'm going to get you a helmet,
Yeah.
like a motorcycle helmet.
But I'll tell you what, you've come a long way.
Yes.
I mean, you really have.
Come a long way, but still, I'm
considering
struggling.
the severity of your injury and,
Right.
and what you've been through, I mean, it's just it's a
Especially-
miracle you're actually here
Mm-hmm. Especially after
at the
everything.
studio talking with us.
In everything that came out of you being in the hospital with the lack of care and all that, the neglect and all that kind of stuff. There was a moment where you were looking really rough because of malnutrition or or
That's the
lack
second
of care.
time that same hospital did that
Right,
to me.
that's what I'm saying. So like, as a friend, I was definitely like I knew your injury was severe, but I was like, you look like you got tortured basically, which is what basically came down to. But
Yeah,
Well, it was kind of funny. I had to go back last Thursday to my job. I haven't been there really in 6 months. I drove in with Miranda and stepped in the office one day, but that's really the first time I've been there in 6 months. And there was people that did not recognize me.
yeah,
I would
bet.
stand right in front of them, wave at them, and they're going, "Can I help you?"
I'm like, you don't
And
remember
as soon
me?
as I opened my mouth and they heard my voice, they were like, "Oh shit, Stoney."
Yeah.
Yes, people that I've known years and years and years, even before I started working for this organization.
Right.
I've known them longer, and they didn't even.
Yeah, you're right.
One of our listeners, Brianna, I
Mhm.
saw her, and she did not even recognize me.
Crazy.
And I was like, "Bree, it's me, Stoney. Oh my God. Oh
Yeah.
my God." And it was a very surreal moment. I went for someone's retirement, and he was just an amazing individual in my life.
Yeah.
And he was very gracious to allow me there, number one,
Yeah.
but then to share the limelight with him because everybody was so excited to see me. It's his
Right.
retirement, but it was like he was kind of sharing the light, with me, and did not mind and was just as happy to see me there. And I was so glad to be able to be there with him because I had missed another friend's retirement a couple of months earlier, right in the accident. He retired 2 weeks after the accident, and I was not able to go. And it was a very surreal moment. And for people to see me and not even know who I was, because number one, my face is a little bit different.
Mhm.
Y'all get to see me once a week.
Right.
But there's some people who literally hadn't seen me in 6 months. I go from 285 to 213 or 215. I'm just half a person now.
Right.
So
It's crazy.
but we've survived,
Mm-hmm.
and we're pressing
are.
on.
And the podcast has been growing.
Yes, it has.
I mean,
been.
this year has been an absolute. We've been blessed,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been so excited to see this podcast grow, and I look forward to I don't believe we've reached nearly our potential.
No.
Oh yeah.
What this thing can do. So
I mean, also this year, this is where we moved over that, the 1,000 downloads in a month.
Yes.
And we kept that up for a month or two before there was some stuff on the back end that kind of messed us up a little bit. But that's awesome. That's crazy to think that in a month that there's been a 1,000 listeners that, and that's...
Well, it's not listeners. That's downloads.
Or downloads.
We've
Right,
had
right,
way
right.
more
Right.
listeners. Just downloads is a very specific
Right.
way that they look at that.
right, how these metrics are, determined with
Yeah.
with podcasts. And so look, I admire, like, you see some of these, have like thousands of followers. It's just
Oh, yeah.
it's incredible. And then, that's what we aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah,
that
we're
one
getting there.
day we're gonna be, we're gonna be a household name.
That's
That's
awesome.
what I
Yeah.
think big.
Of course.
And that's what I'm thinking. I want us to be a household name.
I know that we're going to be big one day whenever we can have a live show and people will come and show up.
Mm-hmm.
If we can do like a show on stage where we do an episode in front of a live crowd.
There you go. That's
and
what I'm talking
and we can
about.
fill up a room with a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
I'll be like, we made it.
We made it.
We have
We
people.
made it.
We have people that want to buy tickets to come see us. then
Yes.
I think I'll be super excited to do that.
Well, I would
and
be.
think
That
that's-
would be crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Is like even
That
just a
would be
handful of people
crazy,
that could come into
you
like
know?
into some sort of auditorium to come and listen to us
You
talk.
know,
would be-
we're gonna and look. We're gonna continue to aim for some guests. I am not. It's not beyond the pale to really reach out
yeah.
to try to get certain people on this show.
And you've been talking about a couple of guests we've been talking about for a while, but scheduling conflicts and things.
Yeah,
also
it's
happening
just
that-
and we're gonna bring it up like. So we'll have some fun episodes. We'll have some serious episodes, and we'll just kind of have kind of the run of the mill stuff too. So
You're right.
next year will be it'll be a lot of variety.
It's just fascinating for me to realize that people listen to what we want to do and just want to come be part of it. Take time out.
Yep.
And sometimes talk about their message, obviously, but
absolutely.
to do that on our show, that's just fascinating to
It
me,
is.
that we're resonating and reaching people on such a level
Yeah, we
that
are.
they want to come here and talk about something
Right.
and realize, this is a cool place to come hang out.
Right. And that's what I was saying whenever I was talking about all the great guests we've had on, is that it's awesome. And I feel honored in a way that they would feel like they could come and talk about what they want to talk about, and they feel comfortable enough to, be in the studio.
And not
And-
get scared off and want to come back for a second episode.
Right,
some of them.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that'd be cool. I think having some of our return guests come on and talk about some other things would be, I think, a really great thing to have as well in this coming year. And
We've had a couple disappointments, but all in all, it's been
that's all bumps on the road.
that's just part of
right.
part of the process.
Yep.
You know.
Par for the course. And I think that's okay. And I'm excited for this next new year to come. I think it's going to be really great. I think we got some big things planned for this new year. But
Do y'all remember the glorification of busy?
do I
Yes,
ever?
I do.
I believe I posed that one. I believe
I think that may
yeah.
have been you.
Because that's a big thing that I've talked about before, especially as an artist and as a person that has in the past been guilty of procrastinating and putting off things because I'm busy or I've had to be real with myself on what is actually busy and what am I
Pretend busy.
what do I not want to do that I'm blaming on busy, because the more I do that, the more I perpetuate this idea of like, it starts to bleed over into I feel like I'm too busy to do the things that I want to do. And I'm like, well, in actuality, like I do have free time. I just need to be more honest with myself and with the people around me and say, no, I can't do that, or yes, I can do that. And then, it's never perfect. I'm not a perfect person, but
No.
I think that's one of those things that I've talked with other people in my kind of sphere of artists and creative people, but also in other parts of life too, that it just feels like something that we're always, we've talked about on the episode. People feel.
The blood economy was another.
Big. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of good episodes.
Yeah,
we
I mean,
about.
we had to. That's the one where we got some good feedback on that one.
I'm trying to think about, do we have any episodes that we had sparked some controversy on? I feel like Pets in the Workplace was a recent one that I didn't feel like I would have such a strong opinion on it until after we talked about it, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this really. I was thinking, is there any other ones that could be a little more can't afford to have fun was on here as well?
Yeah. I mean, we did a Crisis on the Border. Thought that was a real good episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking back on some of these, and we really did have some good topics.
Oh man, the one that
What?
I won't bring that one up.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to talk about that. I had some very strong opinions about when we talked about cloning.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
I feel like
we kind of got into it a little bit on that one.
Somebody called me up and said, I think
right.
Ian's head's going to explode.
I just don't.
I think I was accused. I think we were supporting slavery or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
It was all because of the hypothetical. Which I mean, I don't know why I posed the hypothetical like 50 minutes into the episode, but that's why the episode's an hour.
Did you watch The Island yet? The movie The
No, I haven't
Island.
watched The Island yet. I'm sorry.
You need to watch that.
I in that episode, I think it was 50 minutes in. I posed a hypothetical about, owning a clone and how if the clone was sentient enough, it would feel like you're owning a person. And I don't think I was able to articulate myself well enough. And I just felt like we argued for...
It devolved into all kind of weird stuff.
It just devolved for like 30 minutes of,
We're starting another podcast, Jason, Miranda, and I, called My Big Fat Tinfoil Hat. And Ian has The Aftermath.
Right.
And I actually think, Jason, you and I need to come together and have a whole episode with Ian about movies that they need to watch on The Aftermath.
Because I can name a few of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
And so maybe that needs to be an episode. So just throwing that out there because, I don't know where they get their topic, their movies from, but we could both have a couple of them for them.
We get it from Dylan. Dylan is the mastermind behind the titles of the episode and what movies we're going to watch. So a lot of times I throw that through to him. I do all the other kind of logistic stuff, but when it comes to guests, when it comes to names, when it comes to, he helps out with that kind of stuff.
Well,
so
we have a list for you.
I will. I can. He has a big collection, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a handful of them. But
I've got 1,200 movies that I'm looking to get rid of.
Considering that we've been talking about our past year, I mean, what do y'all look forward to in 2024?
Not having another brain injury.
Well, that's definitely
that's 2 years in a row that I've had
Yes.
something happen to my brain, and trust me, I did not have enough brain cells to spare. So I don't need year 3 of that. I'm actually looking forward to being with Hottie Dr. Miranda and this podcast.
yeah, I midway through January, I'm going to go on another vacation with Mallory. We're going to go back to Disney World again. She really wanted to go back and experience some things we didn't get a chance to, so we decided to plan another trip out there. And so we midway through January, we're going to go out there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to again get away for a week, and looking forward to that. That's like at the top of the year. This is also the year I turned 30, so
that's a big year.
Black balloons.
It's a big
Black
year,
balloons.
and to be honest, people are like, "Oh,
30's a perfect." That's That's a great.
Now this may be
year.
because I'm a guy, and I may feel differently, and I also don't feel 30, so I don't know what that's going to play into things. But for me, I've had friends of mine that are older, or by a couple years, and they're like 30 is going to hurt, or 30 is going to feel a certain way. And I'm like, I'm actually kind of excited. I don't know if that's normal, if that's okay, but I'm like, I'm going to be turning 30 this year, and I'm actually pretty excited because I feel like I'm in a place right now where I feel like I'm getting some things right in my life, and I'm also looking forward on what the future looks like. I have the freedom to potentially go back to school for a few things. I have a couple of podcasts that I do that are pretty successful in their own avenues that I think are fun and great to do. I'm in a great job where I feel loved and appreciated, and so there are things that aren't good in life, but right now I'm in a point where the things that are good are outweighing some of those things that are stressful or that are kind of weighing me down. And one of those things is stuff with my finances, stuff like that, and just kind of, and like I said, what do I want to do long term? What do I want to, I want to have a retirement one day, like that kind of stuff, like looking far ahead, and I want to plan a little bit better for that in life. And that's a little bit scary thinking about that, but I'm also like right now with what's going on, I'm excited and I'm having fun, and it's all great things. And so I don't know. That's why I'm looking forward to it, because I'm like, I think it's going to be great in the next couple of years.
What about you? You asked the question. What you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, there's always a
full marathon.
I've got some, what?
It's a full marathon.
Yes, I am running my first full marathon in 2024. So, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm just curious if mentally how that's going to play out, because I've never run that long of a distance in that long of time.
I want to hear about it afterwards.
Well, we'll definitely talk about it if my body doesn't fall apart.
We'll let you recover, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. That's a biggie. I'm going on I've got some nice vacation. I have a potential to go overseas next year. So we will see if that pans out. It's not 100% certain, but there's some talk. So I may end up doing something like that. So there's a lot of things. I could be close to retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, things could happen where I decide to say, you know what, I've had enough, and I'm ready to move on to the next chapter of my life and do something else.
That's what it feels. I feel like I'm in like this transitional next chapter for me. I'm moving out of my 20s, and I want to make some decisions towards in the future, and I want to see what that looks like. And so
you say you're turning 30. Say I'll be 55 next year.
Double nickels.
So I feel like I don't feel like I'm
right.
I'm 50, almost 55 years old.
You don't look like you're almost 55.
But I realize that, 55, it's, it's like 60's not that far around the corner. And so, I think about, speaking of time flying by so fast, and I'm sure 2024 will fly by just as fast as 2023 did. But, I have my hopes that,
but going to retirement may slow some things down, though. Maybe
it could be, or it could speed
it up.
Speed things up depends on what's going on.
You're right,
but I'm not somebody that wants to just sit around and do nothing. I will always engage my mind,
of course,
in something.
Yeah.
But I have a degree of worry going into next year. I'm concerned about the economic outlook of the country right now. I'm concerned about the debt, inflation. There's some things that I kind of goes in line with some of our past, one of our episodes, past podcasts, or Psychics for Real.
Right.
And I was reading an article today regarding, I forget the name of this person that was some lady. She's blind, and she's made some very startling, accurate predictions. And she predicts an economic crisis in 2024. So, there is concern. We'll have a presidential election.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot. There's my fear is everything's going to get all charged up like it was the last time.
You're right.
And just the social unrest and all those things.
Scary stuff.
But at the same time, I'm also, I have hope that, somehow we'll figure a way to get past all that.
Right.
That we can realize our better selves.
Yep.
And to try to make this planet a better place.
Yeah.
And if people can just stop killing each other, because the way it's going, I feel like we're going to meet our great filter.
You're right.
And so I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
You know?
I've used that term before.
Yeah.
And that's what got me in trouble with aliens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but,
it did get you in trouble with that one.
I do believe that, I'm a firm believer in aliens. I know, Ian, you don't believe.
No, that's what that's the thing is like when
I believe in aliens.
I use the thing. I was like, I don't want to say that they are or not exist, but I'm cautiously optimistic that I'm like, I think that maybe there is, maybe there's not. I don't know, but I'm like, but I'm not gonna.
I get it.
I'm gonna take a neutral, and that's what they were like. Oh, so you know. Anyways,
I get it. I mean, I understand that. It's just what it is. I saw something in the news, kind of. I'm bringing these topics up because these are things we talked about in past episodes.
Right.
Another object has entered our solar system.
Mm-hmm.
It's another asteroid.
Oh wow!
But it's a long, like cigar shape. They've just detected it, and it has been ejected from another solar system.
Wow!
Into ours.
Wow!
So.
That's crazy.
They say
it was on September the 13th of this year that Jamie Musan presented the bodies of two alien beings before Mexican Congress.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
I do, but I think it turned out to be kind of a hoax, but I don't know who wants to.
Maybe they were stuffed pinatas.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, we entertain all these things, and that's
why I never want to say no outright, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know all these things. I'm not going to claim to know all of it, and I never seen it for myself. I haven't experienced it. Who am I? But at the same time, maybe not. But I don't know. You're right though.
But it's been a good year.
It has been.
We had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed every podcast I've been on.
Especially considering you weren't sure you wanted to do this.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing. When I got into this, I was like, I didn't know how this was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to go. I mean, it was.
I did. I knew.
Because I think you and I started talking about some of that ancient alien stuff, and like
we've dabbled into that a little bit.
I remember Stoney telling me, he said, "Yeah, Jason, you'd be good on the podcast." Like I'm into all that stuff. I have my dream that somehow I could get like some of the big names to come on our.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Randall Carlsons and the Graham Hancock and those guys that really kind of know this stuff inside and out.
Right.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'd love to be able to get them. So, some reason maybe they might be listening or hear about it.
Hey, we're open.
We're open to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, one thing that I think, and kind of in wrapping up this episode, I was able to get our YouTube channel all updated and fixed with all the new stuff. And I believe I talked about this on one of the previous episodes about how Google Podcast is going away and YouTube Music is kind of taking its place. I have one request at the end of this episode. And if you could go onto YouTube and you can go youtube.com/@RetrospectPod, or you can just type in @RetrospectPod in like the little search field and you can find the podcast there and you can subscribe to it there. You can watch the videos like you do on your computer or phone. Or even on the app, whatever you may want to choose. Like that is now, we've had it before in the past, but now it's definitely cleaned up and it looks more like a podcast on all their stuff. So if you can go subscribe there and follow us, we have that little area is all sorted out. So if anybody out there wants that, and I'm still in the process of working on Pandora, it's a little bit finicky, but hopefully that will be up and running in the top of this new year.
And two things. If you like us, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yes, on YouTube, you can do a thumbs up. If on some of the other platforms, give us that 5 stars and share us with your friends and family and help get the message out.
Right. The good thing about YouTube is obviously there's a comment section directly underneath the podcast. So if you want to give comments directly on that, there's no real limit to how big a comment is there. So you can just comment on a specific episode, or you can reach out on the.
Well, that's been one of the fun things of the podcast is we've reached such a intellectual audience, demographic audience that the little 120 characters on Facebook or whatever, they're too long. We had to came up with our getoffendedtogether.com gmail.com just because we were getting 3 or 4 page letters and responses, and we're like, yes.
Yeah,
So-
but like Stoney said, you can also send an email to us directly there, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com if you want to send us something specifically that's not publicly on YouTube. But just want to give you that. That's something that's new that got all figured out. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless, and have a happy new year.
You're the best. Peace.